Confessions number 47. Shawn. Shawn the Mover. Shawn the Mover was this guy. He had moved out of the prison system into the halfway house. I don't know if they still call that prison or not. But I never really got to see what Shawn looked like on his pictures, and we never got to meet in person. And I guess it was a good thing, because sometimes relationships are best from a distance. And that's what we had, a long distance emotional affair. I think one of the sexiest things a man can do is get into a woman's mind and hold her attention. And I really have not had that great of a luck with guys who can do that. But Shawn, he rose to the occasion and he did it. He didn't do it for me, but he did it for Jada. Now, Jada was so good for Shawn, and he was so good for her. It was like a match made in heaven. He would tell her all the time, I'm going to get you used to this, and then we're not going to be together, so I don't want to get you used to me. And Jada would tell him, I can handle it. I'm a big girl. And so Shawn would have all these deep conversations, deep thoughts of what he wanted to do once he got out of prison, and the businesses that he wanted to have, and more so how he wanted to love his woman and everything he wanted to do to his woman. So Shawn was a finesser. When I tell you that brother could speak and it would sound like he had one of them deep Barry White voices, go ahead, DW. His pillow talk alone could just get you out of your clothes. That's how good this brother was at what he did. And, that's one thing that you'll find a lot of from guys or women that's from the chat line, is that the pillow talk. Love that pillow talk. And sometimes it can get freaky, and sometimes it's just normal pillow talk. Shawn's pillow talk was smooth, because he'd be like, baby girl, lay down. I know you've been working all day. I know you're tired. And then he'd say a little something like, I want you to imagine that I'm there with you and you're laying on your stomach and I'm massaging you from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet. And I know, right? That sounds kind of like something we say in prayer. But that's what he would say. I'm massaging you from your head to your feet. And I would just fall into that moment of letting him give me that pillow talk, because it was so relaxing. And out of all the guys I talked to on the chat line, he's the only one that could do that so well. For one thing, pillow talk is a natural talent. If you're not born with it, then it's going to sound a mess. And he was born to talk to women. He was so smooth with it. And when he just say hello, he'd be like, Jada. I'd be like, yeah. Because it was so... Just thinking about him just makes me want to just drift off, because his voice was so relaxing. He would be my peace, my relaxing peace. But we knew that eventually that would come to an end, because as he got closer to getting out, I did not feel like I could keep that up. It's different. Some people can live up to it on the outside of the prison world, and then there's people like me. I can respect you only in that moment, but once you get out, you got to think of some of the things you told me that you'll do, and you know, my mind kind of just runs to the opposite side. Like, I could handle you while you was in there, but now that you're out here, I'm not willing to put up the real legs for it, So that was what kept us from being together. And besides, he never knew that Jada was not a real name. I told you, Jada was smooth too. She just had all the right words that these guys wanted to hear. But them two together, they was made for one another. Jada didn't know how to talk back like the way Shawn was doing, which was a good thing, because I think if both of you know too much of what to do, then it'll kind of offset the feeling, and it will get to where you're trying to compete with each other versus actually enjoy the moment. It's kind of like one's a giver, one's a receiver. And then when you need to switch, you switch when you need to. But if you don't need to switch and you're okay with how things are going, then don't rock the boat. If it don't need fixing, don't bother it. And Jada and Shawn didn't need fixing. They never even saw each other. He never had a picture of me, and I never had a picture of him. But that was the deepest. I'm trying to think of a word for it. Emotional, romantic fling from my chat line. That was deep, and it was sexy, and it was hot, and it was like, it would probably be everything that I would want right now in a man. What I would want a man to do right now. That's what Shawn was to Jada back then in 2009. He was all that and some. And so I would say he could have been my king. No, he couldn't have been that. But just getting to it, he was a man of words. He was a man of the right words at the right time. And I sometimes sit back and wonder, what would that have been like if we would have actually got up? I mean, I never got to see what he looked like, so I couldn't really imagine him. And usually when he would be telling me this stuff, I would be imagining somebody else. I wouldn't be picturing him because I didn't know what he looked like. And it was better that way for both of us. So that was a good one, wasn't it? So I would like to know whatever happened to Shawn. But then again, we both was talking to each other under fake names. So we probably will not cross paths again in this lifetime. But it was good while it lasted. Butterflies.